Welcome back to another episode of Northwest Backyard Barbecue. My name is Tim, and today we're going to be making corned beef hash with fried eggs. And also, we're going to be doing some fried sauerkraut. Now, all of this doesn't necessarily go together, or at least the sauerkraut doesn't necessarily go with corned beef hash. But if you've watched any of my previous videos, you'll see that I made my own corned beef out of a brisket. I separated the point and the flat, made that corned beef, and I made some Reubens, and I also made some corned beef and cabbage. So really what this is leftovers from those meals, and a hash is an easy way to use your corned beef leftovers. So I'm going to do that, as well as the sauerkraut, which was with the corned beef and cabbage. I'm going to fry that as well. If you've never had fried sauerkraut, it's fantastic. So we're going to do both of those items with the fried egg on top of the corned beef hash on the Blackstone griddle today. So let's go ahead and show you what we have for our ingredients. Look on down here. So we've got about a pound and a half of potatoes. Now these potatoes right here are actually the potatoes I used with the corned beef and cabbage. So we boiled those potatoes in the pressure cooker in the water that the corned beef cooked in. So there's some good flavor imparted into those potatoes. And that's about 4 to 5, 4.5 red potatoes, which is about a pound and a half. So I just cubed those up. And then over here we're going to have one large sweet onion. That's a Walla Walla sweet onion, which is what we generally eat over here in Oregon. And then we're going to have over here about 2 cloves of garlic. Back here, this is red and green pepper. Now, this red and green, you can use a fresh red and green pepper, which is what I generally recommend. However, I didn't have any green or red pepper, so what I did is I did have these. So this is red and green bell peppers. Now they're dried bell peppers from Penzeys Spices. If you've never ordered any items from Penzeys, you should take a look at them online. I'll put a link in the description, but they have all kinds of spices, and their spices are excellent. So I rehydrated them, and we're going to go ahead and use those in our corned beef hash today. So this is equivalent to probably about 1 pepper, okay, 1 red or green pepper, but now there's a mixture in there, so probably about half and half, half red, half green. Then we're also going to have some beef stock right here. This is going to be about a cup and a half of beef stock. We're also going to have a stick of butter. Now I've got 2 sticks here because we're going to use some of the butter with the sauerkraut, but we're going to use about a whole stick for the corned beef. Then we're going to also have 2 tablespoons of, or actually this is, about 2 tablespoons of flour right here. This is going to help thicken up the corned beef hash when we dump all of the liquid in there. And then we've got about 4 tablespoons of horseradish. This is a hot beaver horseradish that we're going to use. We're also going to add in some Worcestershire. I almost forgot to put the Worcestershire in there, but here we go right here. So the Worcestershire here is going to be about 2 tablespoons of Worcestershire, and we're also going to use some salt and pepper, as well as the corned beef. So I've already chopped up the corned beef. That's what it looks like right there, and we're going to add that in there as well. So that's all of the ingredients that we're going to use today. So I'm going to go ahead and move over to the Blackstone griddle and get this started. So I'll see you here in just a second. Okay, we're back here at the Blackstone griddle, and we're going to go ahead and get this started. So first we're going to start with 1 stick of butter. Going to get that melted down just a little bit. Now, one thing about the griddle here is you're going to have to kind of keep that butter from rolling away. There we go. And again, with this griddle, it's a little bit more, when you got a lot of liquid, it's going to be a little bit more difficult to do. You just got to keep an eye on it. But once it thickens up a little bit, this is going to be the perfect utensil to cook this corned beef hash. Now we're going to add this bell pepper and red pepper. So red and green bell pepper, basically. See there, it's already getting a little easier. Put all that together there. And since this is a rehydrated bell pepper, you're not going to have to cook it as long. Generally, you'd probably cook this for 4 or 5 minutes if it was a fresh red or green bell pepper to soften it up, but obviously this is already softened up. I'm going to add that onion in there. Next. Now I've got this sitting on, set on low, because again, we don't want to torch this butter and burn it. So I've got it on a low setting here. And there, see, as you can see there we go. See, that butter is now incorporated with the onions. Don't have it leaking all the way down to the back drain on this Blackstone. All right, I'm gonna let that cook for just a few minutes, and then when that's done, we will add in the flour, and we'll be back with you in just a minute to get that done. Okay, so I've got the onion down here. It's been cooking for 5 or 6 minutes. I think it's at a good stage for us to go ahead and add the flour and then start adding in the other ingredients. So we're gonna take the flour and we're just gonna kind of sprinkle it on top. And again, we're adding the flour as a thickener, because once we add in all this liquid, we're gonna want all this to kind of bind together. That's what the flour is for. So in a way, it's kind of like you make a little bit of a roux with all that grease that we have in there with that butter. And I want to cook that for a couple of minutes just to get the kind of the flour taste out of there. So it's kind of the same way what you do with a roux. You want to cook the flour taste out of there so you get kind of that nutty flavor. So we're just going to let that cook for a couple minutes. Then we're going to add all the other ingredients and then let it brown once that 2 minutes is up. So I'll bring you back in 2 minutes. Okay, 2 minutes has passed. So now we're going to go ahead and add in the rest of our ingredients. We got the horseradish. This really kicks it up. Horseradish, a good, fresh horseradish. That's like a secret ingredient there. Gonna add in the Worcestershire. Kind of stir that around a little bit. Oh yeah, look at that. This is going to be absolutely amazing. You'll never want to eat another hash that you don't make yourself, because restaurants that can't compare it. You know, in a restaurant, you go to a restaurant, you get corned beef hash, and I'd say 99 times out of 100, it's one of those canned corned beefs. I mean, it might as well be Spam, because it you know, it's not, well, Spam's not bad, but it's definitely not you know, something that I crave. And a good corned beef has to be fresh, freshly cooked. It can't be out of a can. It just doesn't taste right. We got that. Now we're going to add in our broth. This is kind of the tricky part because of the Blackstone here. Just want to keep kind of stirring it in as you pour it when you're using a grill like this. Now if you're using a, you know, just a pot or a pan, obviously this part you can just dump it all in. It's not going to go anywhere. But with this, you want to make sure you stir it in so it doesn't completely leave the grill. It's like this. See there? Oh, yeah. Oh, if you could smell this, unbelievable. A little bit more. There we go. And we used about a cup of that. I'm going to save the other half a cup, see if we need it, and let that cook for a couple of minutes. Kind of firm it up a little. Okay, we're back. It's been a couple of minutes, and now it's time to add in the potatoes and the corned beef, and then a little bit of salt and pepper. Now, I know this does not look the best in the world, but you can't always judge a dish by the way it looks. You know the old saying, a book by its cover. Same thing with food. Sometimes the things that look the worst taste the best. So let's go ahead and add in our potatoes, which is going to help thicken it up too, because potatoes has got a lot of starch, so obviously that's going to help take care of some of that water content. We do have a little bit of broth if we need it. And we're going to add in our pound of corned beef. Going to mix that around. And then all we're going to do, once we get this mixed up, we'll have a little salt and pepper, and then we're going to let it brown, get crispy, which will take probably about 15 minutes, maybe 20. Oh yeah, this is going to be unbelievable. Little fresh ground Jacobson's Oregon Coast, from the Oregon Coast, sea salt. Perfect. And some fresh ground black pepper. Perfect. Mix that around a little bit. Now, I'm going to go ahead and lay this out and let it brown on this lower heat. And then when it browns on the one side, we'll flip it over and get it to brown on the other side. Now, the potatoes that we used, again, those were cooked potatoes. So if you obviously don't have potatoes already cooked that you're using as leftover, you know, you want to boil them just normal until they're fork tender, and cut and then cube them up like you saw here. So we're going to do just like that. Let that brown up on that side, and then we'll give it a flip in probably 10 minutes or so. But in the meantime, I'm going to start the sauerkraut on this side, right here. So I got the butter in there. Let that kind of melt a little bit. Perfect. All right, so I'm just going to go ahead and throw in this horseradish. The sauerkraut. We're going to do the same thing with this. Just mix in the butter, like so. That's going to be good too. Now this sauerkraut, if you didn't see my Reuben video, this is a imported German sauerkraut. Germany's #1 sold sauerkraut in a container, in a can. It's very, very good. Closest thing to making your own that I've tasted. All right, same thing. We're gonna let that fry up, and once all that's done, then we'll also be frying our egg, putting it on top of our corned beef hash. And once this is cooked down, like I said, it's got to brown for a while. I'll bring you back when I flip it over and show you what it looks like on the other side. Then we'll finish it out, finish out the sauerkraut, fry the eggs, do a taste test. So I'll be back with you with all that. Okay, It's been about 10 minutes or so. We're going to go ahead and try to give this a flip here. Cook it for probably another 5 to 10 minutes, and then we're going to be ready to get those eggs going and get this all plated up. Here we go. Oh yeah, look at that, crisp right there. You know, just do your best to flip it over. Look at that crisp right there. Oh, perfect. Looking great. Oh yeah. And we're going to do the same with our sauerkraut. That's looking perfect. Great. Okay, now I did spread this out a little bit more just to kind of make it a little thinner, cook a little faster. But we're going to go ahead and let this roll for another 5 to 10 minutes, and then I'll bring you back and we'll go ahead and get those eggs done and finish this off, give it a taste. Okay, as you can see, I've gone ahead and moved over the sauerkraut. I'm going to go ahead and do the eggs right over here. So for the Blackstone griddle, something that's nice are these little holders here that help keep the egg from rolling down, kind of keep it nice and shaped there. So we're going to go ahead and start off by putting our eggs in there. Perfect. So once those firm up a little bit, I'm going to pull these off. You know, I probably should have sprayed them with a little cooking spray, but we'll go ahead and make it work. They are silicone, so they're somewhat non-stick. I'm going to go ahead and turn off this burner here. Leave on the one with the eggs, because the residual heat over here will keep these, they keep this nice and warm. And I'm going to put some black pepper on the eggs, a little bit of sea salt. Going to do the same over here with our sauerkraut. Perfect. Mix that together a little bit. There we go. All right, that sauerkraut looks great. That's done. All right, so these eggs probably firm enough. Just kind of shake that off of there. Yeah, not too bad. See there? If I would have put a little spray on there, there would have been no stick, but there was a little bit right there. See if we can do the same with this one here. This one's sticking a little bit more. So we'll just kind of break that off a little bit. There we go. That should do it. Perfect. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and finish these eggs off. Once the eggs are done, I'll have everything all plated up and we'll do a taste test. Be back with you in just a minute. Okay, here we are, we're back. I went ahead and pulled off the corned beef, the fried eggs, well, the corned beef hash, the fried eggs, and the fried sauerkraut. And now I am ready to give it a taste. Now, the eggs, as you'll see here, I've done over medium. Obviously, you can do them however you want, but The way we like it is with a nice runny yolk on the corned beef hash. This obviously adds an extra dimension, an extra level of flavor. So that's the way we like it, and that's the way these eggs are cooked. So let's go ahead and give it a try. So I'm gonna start over here. Go ahead and cut that egg, that yolk. Perfect. Kind of chop that up. Get about a yolk, an egg, and hash. Here we go. One more bite. Yolk maybe is a little bit done. Kind of got lost setting the cameras back up, but you know what? It's still good, runny enough. One more bite. Wow. Oh my gosh. Let me try the sauerkraut. I tell you, if I was handing out ribbons, I would give myself a blue one. I mean, maybe I'm biased, but I don't think so. It's that good. If you like corned beef, if you like hash, you gotta try this. This is amazing. Unbelievable breakfast food, unbelievable dinner food. We're actually having it for dinner tonight. So it's amazing. This is all leftover stuff, other than the eggs, of course, but everything else was from previous videos. We threw it together, made this hash with the potatoes, with the corned beef, the sauerkraut. I mean, all of that stuff we've used. So this is a good way to use your leftover corned beef, sauerkraut, whatever you've got there, potatoes. Give it a try. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button, hit the bell so you get notified on all of our new recipes. Thank you again for joining us on this episode of Northwest Backyard Barbecue, and I really look forward to seeing you next time. Thank you.